office half-yearly report dated June 30, 2023. And the excerpts of the report is what we're about to share with you, and also to share a few perspectives on the report as we find it. The preface signed by the Special Prosecutor Kissie Jabin, the Republic of Ghana, June 30, 2023. It says, in pursuance of Section 3.3 of the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act 2017, Act 959, I present to you the third half-yearly report under my tenure as Special Prosecutor. This report offers an insight into the corruption cases investigated and prosecuted by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, OSP, and the highlights of activities undertaken by the office between 1st January 2023 and 30th June 2023. The office completed a substantial recruitment exercise for its initial establishment complement of staff during the period under review. The successful applicants are expected to post variously on or before 31st of October 2023. These are exciting and promising times for the office, as we reckon that it is presently in its best shape since its advent in 2018 in fulfillment of its mandate of investigating and prosecuting cases of corruption and corruption-related offences, recovering the proceeds of such offences, and taking steps to prevent corruption. The office continues its drive towards full establishment and in all aspects, notwithstanding immense budgetary challenges. The period under review was especially marked by enhanced public discourse about the cases under review and the mandate and powers of the office. We welcome the amplified public interest in the operations of the office, and we take a special note of reasoned, constructive and formative critique of our work. We unpretentiously invite the public to join us and assist the office in whichever way to fight corruption, for it is upon the fight against corruption that we may forge ourselves decent existence. That's Lawyer Kissie Jabin there. Now, what I draw from this is that the office has now recruited some more people, at least from the intro, the preamble. Number two, that the office has concluded investigation of certain matters that were before it. I also get a sense that there are matters before the court that were at the instance of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, that they want the public to join in the fight against corruption, and that if you will critique their work, it has to be reasoned, constructive, formative critique of their work. And the fight against corruption is for all of us. That's what I draw from this. Maybe, Helen, I know you've been going through the report. I'm interested in the cases. If you look at the portion after developments, there are cases, because there are those who also have made a strong argument that the Office of the Special Prosecutor is really not doing anything. There are people who have said that. There are people who have said that they do not think that the Office of the Special Prosecutor is functioning well. So what are these cases? It's right here, Helen. You want to
Sure thing. I was even going to say, the Ghanaian Times this morning puts it succinctly. I think it's also captured on the front page. OSP half-year reports probe into ex-minister, 3 other cases end. We're told 9 ongoing, 150 under consideration. That story captured on page 11 gives a breakdown on there.
That includes the famous Charles Bisu, Charles Dubois matter. There's also another businessman.
Correct.
And then a few others.
Yes. Okay? Johnny, this your device is very fancy. Please on the lights.
It's not fancy. That's how it is. It's technology.
There we go. This thing opens up like a book. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So where do you want us to pick it up from?
The cases.
Okay.
Let's read a few of the cases.
All right,
let's
do that.
Cases, yeah.
Let's do that. So, in respect of the investigation and prosecution of specific cases of suspected or alleged cases of corruption and corruption-related offences, the office first engages in intelligence gathering or pre-investigation to determine whether it should open investigation into a matter. The special prosecutor directs the opening of a preliminary inquiry or investigation where he determines that the matter is within the mandate of the office. Where sufficient information is gathered, the special prosecutor directs the initiation of a full investigation.
Right.
The special prosecutor directs the institution of criminal proceedings where it is determined that the office has probative evidence to meet the standard of proof beyond reasonable doubt. We'll go on. 3.2 says the office takes special care to safeguard and protect the privacy and reputations of persons it investigates. To this end, the office seeks to avoid unnecessary stigmatization by conducting its operations with as little intrusion into the privacy of individuals and business operations of companies as the circumstances permit. 3.3 says, thus, the office only publishes the initiation or commencement of investigation where the special prosecutor deems the investigation in question to be at a threshold which dictates communication to the public. Lastly, the following are the various cases handled by the office during the period under reference. And 3.4 will list out the various prosecutions that are ongoing.
Okay. There's the cases, prosecutions. Let maybe pay attention to prosecutions right underneath.
Yeah.
It's right underneath
Okay.
That.
Let's do that. So we have the...
How many cases are the OSP prosecuted or prosecuting?
Okay. So we have the Republic versus Sumaila Abdul Rahman, Stephen Engman, Patrick Seydu, and Andrew Kundari.
That's the NDA case.
Okay.
The Northern Development Authority issue. Yes.
They have the Republic versus Isa Seydu.
That's the National Insurance Commission.
That's
yes.
right. We have the Republic versus Ajenim Boating Ejay and another.
That's the PPA,
Public
former
Procurement Authority case.
former PPA boss.
Okay, and then you have one here. It's Alexander Kwabena Safo Kantanka, the trial of the president's nominee for the position of chief executive of Joabing Municipal Assembly in the Ashanti region.
The one who says I give money.
And that was about
Thank you for wasting time.
26 counts of corruption in respect of public election.
26 counts.
26 counts. The matter is in court. It's in Kumasi.
Respect of public election.
And then we have here B. So we have the concluded investigations, Charles Edubuahin.
Right.
And it says the office has concluded investigation into a referral by the President of the Republic in respect of suspected corruption and corruption-related offenses regarding Charles Edubuahin, a former Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance. The corruption allegations are contained in an investigative documentary titled Galamsey Economy, published by Tiger IPI and the investigative journalist Anas Arimiyal Anas. The special prosecutor will issue directives and further action on the matter in due course. So that's
it means that the matter could go to court or what?
Well, they say there are investigations.
It could go to court.
But they said
it
they've
may
concluded investigation.
Correct.
So the course of the matter will be directed by the office.
Okay, so we should wait. We should hold on for the next call.
Exactly. Whether to go to court or he'll be just let off, I don't know.
There's also a portion of the report that talks about recruitment that they had done. So for all this while, the office of the special prosecutor said they were working without the full complement of the staff that could have helped them to work, at their best. But even without the requisite numbers, the numerical strength of staff, they still have been able to do this work. We'll go back to the Martinamidu days where he also was complaining, every now and then about
the
not
office,
having
everything
staff, not having a budget. If you look at the report, for example, the Daily Graphic puts it that the report decried what it describes as the unavailability of established budget to fund its operations. And a quote from it says, "We continue to emphasize the need for the state to pay particular attention to the funding needs of the office. It is in our collective interest to build a resilient, independent, and technologically advanced office of the special prosecutor to stay ahead of the and effectively repress corruption and corruption-related actors," the report stated. Now, how do you fight corruption without money? If you don't have money, and For example, you are investigating person A, B, or C, and they have more money than you, and you are investigating them, and you send your investigator that is looking hungry, he's already struggling. The chances are that he may cave in if a fat offering is made before him. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. That you need to be independent, you need to be very well, you need to be okay in order to be able to fight corruption, so that you don't come from a hungry background to come and be investigating people who are stealing food. Because if you get there, you're also hungry. They will offer you food, and then what? I'm thinking about it.
And the funding is important because these days a lot of corruption and corruption-related activities are carried out online or through technology. So this calls for a lot of investments in the technology that the office uses to do its investigations. You talk about vehicles, you talk about the human resource.
That's right.
How many, people are working there, and how many more do we need? The last time I checked, it was just about not more than 20% of the staff that they have. They need about 80% more. So when you talk about investment, and not just the investment alone, the whole posture, the whole approach, and the way the state, if you like, the government is treating this office, does it tell us that we really want to fight corruption? So talking about investment, I think it's something that this report should, speak to how much they need in terms of figures. There should be some research to find out. I think by now they should know.
Right.
How much. Then they make it public so that the public can also speak for the office.
Right.
Because when they fight corruption, they are fighting for us.
Well, but again, then it puts it within the domain of security, if you ask me, because just as we have not been told the exact amount that has been spent on presidential travels because it borders on national security, if the Office of the Special Prosecutor also puts out all of what it needs out there, I think that may jeopardize. But
the last time I checked,
let's have it. I think what they are asking for, if you read the text, it says the office continues to operate without an establishment budget. Nonetheless, the office has proven that with sufficient funding, it is best placed to prevent and reduce the menace of corruption and corruption-related activities. We continue to emphasize the need for the state to pay particular attention to the funding needs of the office. It is in our collective interest to build a resilient, independent, and technologically advanced Office of the Special Prosecutor to stay ahead and effectively repress corruption-related actors. The office welcomes collaboration and referrals on suspected corruption and corruption-related offenses from all stakeholders, particularly law enforcement agencies. So there is no establishment budget.
Okay, so what I was trying to say is that the last time I checked, and if my facts, are open for corruption, correction.
They are not open for corruption.
The Office of the Special Prosecutor is akin to the police service.
That's right.
That's right. The police service has always come and say, we have this number of men. This is the deficit. They always come, and that's for the human resource.
Right.
Vehicles. This is the number of vehicles we have, and this is the deficit. The president and the government go ahead to procure for them. It's open, we know. And this is the number of. So there are some things that they can make public. And I'm also asking: is the public or the private individuals allowed to donate to the space? Because they tell us that they are like the police service, where directors are the commissioners of police and stuff.
That's right.
I'm just asking all these
equivalent
questions.
To the rank of
so that if we are interested in helping them to operate, are we allowed to donate? Because I've seen people build police stations for the police service. I've seen people donate vehicles, and there's a controversy around it. Some experts think it's okay. Some say it is not.
I don't support people building police stations.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because if I'm involved in a corruption, if I'm involved in a corruption-related activity or corruption, and I built the police station, how does the police come to arrest me?
I'm saying that they even build and put their names on it.
Yes. How does the police come and arrest me?
So these are discussions that I would want to put out, because this office has been around for so long and nothing is happening. Those who are interested in fighting corruption, private individuals, can they support? It's a conversation we can have, because I said again, the last time I checked, it's similar to the police service, or if it's not same. Where directors are said to be commissioners of police.
Yes, equivalent to the rank.
Units.
Wing or units, that has police powers. So if you are giving the police hospitals or clinics and police stations and vehicles, me too, we can give them and support them. I mean, because at the end of the day, if I have a house at Wale Wale and I can give it to the office of the special prosecutor to use as an office, can I give them? You know, these are conversations.
but how is, because the office of the special prosecutor was a key campaign message by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo while he was in opposition. We have seen the reign or the tenure of Martin Alamisi Benskaiser Amidu. We are now seeing that of Kissi Ejeabeng. Kissi Ejeabeng and his team in this report make a strong case that, look, irrespective of the fact that we didn't have or we do not have all of what we need, because the new staff that have even been recruited are expected in office in October, right? So irrespective of whatever constraints we had, we have still been able to show you that we have concluded investigations, there are ongoing investigations, there's a matter before the court, or there are matters before the court that we are pursuing.
So they've shown working.
They've shown working. They've shown you their scorecard, as I always say. How is the state supporting them? Because this was a major campaign message that was put to us, just like free SHS.
Right.
So if this is supposed to help us fight corruption, and it's supposed to help us save us money, for example, all the billions and millions we hear about in the what do you call it, the Auditor General's reports that are presented to us and the rest, how do we empower the Office of the Special Prosecutor to deliver?
That's what I'm saying.
Because if there's no establishment budget,
Johnny, when you are making some of these points, I always say that when it comes to politics, when they are on the political platform, the things that they can say and will say, if you want to always hold them to it, that's the best way to go as journalists.
Correct.
Beyond that, we also have to look at how we can help some of these institutions to function. Because as for the politicians, they will say what they got to say.
Yeah. 4
years, you'll come back and repeat or even add more. And then we'll still be where we are. Because Alamisi said...
Benskaiser Amidu.
Yes. Mr. Amidu made similar, pronouncements about the things that his office needed at the time. Have they improved? Maybe a little.
Yeah.
Are we where we are supposed to be? No. That's why I'm asking the questions. Can we support the Office of the Special Prosecutor as private individuals? It's a question that needs answers because they are akin to the police service. And now, as I said, the directors are also like commissioners of police. That's what I know. So, if we are supporting the regular police service, what prevents us from, because like Johnny said, they are also fighting corruption. The police service fights corruption.
That's right.
Because at the end of the day, they prosecute on behalf of the Attorney General, and they take people who are corrupt to the courts. But we still go ahead and give them donations, and they take.
You see, and that's where the problem for me is, because if you look at the Corruption Perception Index that's published year on year, you look at Afrobarometer,
the police is inside.
The police is there. I mean, the last one that was published, it was number 1 or number 2.
They might have actually
followed
been
by the
number 1.
Immigration Service.
Yeah.
So
and then on and on and on.
They can't fight their brothers and sisters in the basket.
Because my argument is that the moment you open yourself, I'm supposed to police Helen.
And I'm taking donations
and
from
I'm
Helen.
taking donations from Helen.
I mean, if I build a police station and you want to put me in this same place that I've built and I've put my name on it, that's
So
you know, when in the wake of our fight against Galamsey, the Chinese made a donation of 50,000, if you remember, to the police and 50,000 to the Immigration Service. The Chinese, it was a huge public donation before we set up Operation Vanguard and Galam Stop and all of that. We are where we are.
That's why I'll agree with Johnny with the fact that
here.
if government touted this as something that was near and dear to its heart, but of course William will say they're on the political trail, so of course these things come out. I think that then the government must show more commitment to strengthening that unit to insulate it from any kind of external pressures or external influence. It should be one of the places where it's so well resourced that because we simply can't have any kind of influence. That is what should be at the forefront. But unlike other commitments that this government has really put its weight behind, the office of the OSP seems to always be lacking one thing or the other.
Look at the report. The introductory portion of the report, paragraph 1-2, says that the office has the object of 1, investigating, 2, prosecuting specific cases of alleged or suspected corruption and corruption-related offenses. 3, recovering the proceeds of corruption. 4, or corruption-related offenses. And 5, taking steps to prevent corruption. So it's clearly spelled out in the law, and they have even simplified it here in this report, that they are supposed to investigate, they are supposed to prosecute, they are supposed to recover proceeds, and they are supposed to take steps to prevent corruption. How do they do all of these things, including exercising full police and law enforcement powers in the performance of their functions, if they do not have the FAMECO? Because it's money.
Yes. You see, the last time we spoke to some officers of the OSPs and the Office of the Special Counsel, we were told that they for a period they earned their salaries, but the salaries didn't hit their accounts.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you show up for work, you've earned the salaries.
Right.
But it wasn't hitting the account for a period. So how do you expect somebody to come to work? He's earning his salary. The thing is not hitting his account, not hitting his pocket.
And you expect the person not to
fight
be
corruption.
Yeah, not to be corrupt.
And if everybody is listening, and I again, because it's a specialized area, I always want to open it for correction. If they're able to get the monies from the corrupt individuals, a cut goes to the office, is it? Yes. Because so that it will encourage even those in the banks. There are some officers who get some special monies at the end of the week or at the end of the month, so that you don't touch.
So that it's also an incentive to get up and
the question is, are they getting those
for
monies?
You? I mean, because if you're hungry and somebody dangles, food in front of you, you take it. You're
so these
hungry.
are things that
you're famished.
The special prosecutor and his corporate affairs director should be going around and telling people, so that we also know and understand them. Because dealing with corruption, we have to deal with the whole thing with our minds presented as a parachute. It will work best when it is open. You see, if your mind is not open like a parachute, it can't work.
Baba.
No, but that's the point.
Well, so here's President Akufo-Addo telling us in 2019 how he has delivered on the promise of creating the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and it's up and running.
Which office is up and running?
The Office of the Special Prosecutor.
Without establishment budget.
Please, I beg you.
But that's in the report.
Promise to establish an independent Office of Special Prosecutor to focus on the prosecution of corruption-related offenses. The office is up and running, manned by an experienced, well-known prosecutor who, we are all aware, has been an active member of the opposition National Democratic Congress and cannot be described by any stretch of the imagination as a member or sympathizer of my party, the ruling New Patriotic Party. His appointment was deliberate to highlight the independent nature of the office. And I'm optimistic his work will justify the confidence the Ghanaian people and I have in him. We'll fulfill the campaign promise to establish an independent Office of Special Prosecutor to focus on the prosecution of corruption-related offenses. The office is up and running, manned by an experienced, well-known prosecutor who, we are all aware, has been an active member of the opposition National Democratic Congress and cannot be described by any stretch of the imagination as a member or sympathizer of my party, the ruling New Patriotic Party. His appointment was deliberate to highlight the independent nature of the office. And I'm optimistic his work will justify the confidence the Ghanaian people and I have in him.
20 minutes after 8 here on 3FM 92.7. That was President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And he says the office is up and running. So this was during the time of Martin Alamisi Benz Kaiser Amidu.
And
fast forward to Kisie Jabin.
Exactly, 2023. And I read.
Yeah, go ahead.
The office continues to operate without establishment budgets. Nonetheless, the office has proven that with sufficient funding, it is best placed to prevent and reduce the menace of corruption and corruption-related activities. So how can an office that is up and running be suffering from the lack of establishment budgets?
Well, what you were looking for the II of the report, 2.1, paragraph 2.1, says the office concluded a substantial recruitment process for its initial establishment complement of staff. The office received more than 6,000 applications contending for 249 positions cleared by Parliament and the Ministry of Finance. So 6,000 people came forward to work, and I'm sure they needed more than 249 as was cleared by Parliament and the Ministry of Finance, because you need financial clearance in most of these matters. The exercise was conducted with the participation and assistance of the Public Services Commission, Attorney General, Minister of Justice, Minister of Justice Research Department of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Economic and Organized Crime Office, Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, and Financial Intelligence Center. There's also participation by the governing board of the office, comprising representatives from anti-corruption, civil society organizations, audit service, Ghana Police Service, Economic and Organized Crime Office, Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Financial Intelligence, National Security, and on and on and on. So they haven't told us how many people they actually are looking for, but we do know that 249 have been cleared and engaged, and they are supposed to report in October. And that's 6,000 people put themselves up.
So if that number has been engaged, how many do we have on the ground? And if we add that to what has been engaged, how many do we have? How many more do we need?
Right.
Are they across the country in terms of the 16 regions, in terms of the 261 districts?
Yes,
the
261, yeah.
Do we have those offices there?
So that they have eyes and ears everywhere.
So the OSP should, I mean, I don't think because it's a specialized institution, it shouldn't cry openly. It should cry openly so that we know.
Will it not be sounding like the Martin Amidu era? Because people kept blaming Martin Amidu and said, look, you're talking too much. Work. You're talking too much.
So this one, the OSP, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has released a half-yearly report. Let it be in that report. So that it will be established that this is what it is. Not just go on air and rave and rant. This is the fact.
Yeah. This is what we need.
Exactly.
This is what we have as of now. This is what is left for us to get.
The OSP, that office is not the NIB or the Secret Service, so far as I'm concerned, for them to. It is like the police service.
Let's work the phone lines and see if we can raise the OSP representative on the phone line. Try and see if we can get some of these answers, because yes, we can read a report, we can have our own conversations, but sometimes it's good to hear from the horse's own mouth. I mean, the cases and all of that happening. I know that they have also a matter with the Gaming Commission.
Yeah, I did want to say, on top of, right above that is that allegation of attempt to bribe members of parliament by wealthy businessmen. I know a lot of us were quite keen
Go ahead.
to find out what was going on, if there were any names.
This was what during the budget, or
this was at the time. Kenneth Ofori-Atta, 90 plus MPs wanted him out.
Should he go? Should he not
we
go?
told that there was one wealthy businessman parading the corridors of Parliament, looking
with a brown envelope.
With a brown envelope. What has happened to that case?
Tell us
the office has concluded investigation into allegations of an attempt by an unnamed and wealthy businessman to bribe some members of the Majority Caucus of Parliament. The special prosecutor will issue directives and further action on the matter in due course. They're saying a big thank you, though, to the Speaker of Parliament for his assistance. So, sorry to whet your appetite. They said in due course, you'll know. I don't know whether that means we'll get to know of this unnamed yet wealthy businessman, if we'll know who he attempted to bribe, who he successfully bribed, and so on and so forth. They said, hold tight, you'll soon get to know.
Okay, yeah, yes. So, here's Martin Amidu again. Right, Martin Amidu saying that the AG wanted to make me a lame duck. Listen.
It was a war which led to us getting the LIS made, because I had a lot of confrontations with the Attorney General.
LIB, what, the
legislative instrument, about the way they wanted to set up the office. They wanted to set up the office as a lame duck.